Hi, my name's Juliet and I started learning Italian using Duolingo and some other resources in December of 2020. I thought it was about time that I gave some of my thoughts on Duolingo for English people trying to learn Italian. So first up, how do I use Duolingo? Well, I have both the app downloaded onto my tablet and I use the desktop. When I'm trying to learn Italian from English, I mainly use the app. And when I do the reverse tree, I use the desktop. The version I have on the app is not the latest version though, because my tablet is quite old. So it doesn't have any of the animations, which, in case you haven't heard, you can now turn off. And it doesn't have the gems and losing lives when you get something wrong. For this reason, my experience could well be different from yours. While we're on the subject of the gamification of this app, I don't think this is a good thing. I think it distracts from actually learning the language. So if you're serious about learning a language, I'd suggest that you turn as much of it off as you can, including the leagues. Because even if you think you can ignore them, there's still this background judgment. All that aside though, how good is it at actually giving you what you need to learn the language? Well, first I need to go back into the dim and distant past and remember how I learned my languages at school. Back then we had possibly 3 lessons a week, may only have been 2, which means less than 3 hours of practice in class. We were taught grammar topics and given lists of vocabulary to learn, and we also had to talk aloud in front of the whole class, which wasn't good if you were an introvert like me. Everything we did was geared towards passing the exam at the end of it, which back then was an O-level. The emphasis on actually being able to use a language, I feel, was somewhat lacking. Even when I continued my languages on into further education, I still feel that there was not very much opportunity to speak the language without being judged by my peers. So on that last point, using the app, there's plenty of opportunity to practice speaking without any kind of judgment. The exercises started off really easy, and they used vocabulary that was very relevant to me about writing, reading and books, which may not be as relevant to everyone else. It's possible I found the exercises much easier than someone who's never learned a language before because of my background. Things were familiar and concepts weren't alien. Some seem to hate the inbuilt repetition of sentences, and yes, that can sometimes get annoying.
Conosco il sentimento.
But I find that it's very good at fixing the vocabulary into my head. Not everyone is going to have the same experience with that, because not everyone learns in the same way. But I think it's, on balance, a good thing. As far as the grammar it teaches you though, that's not so good. There are tips for each lesson, but they are different on the app to what is on the website. Sometimes they're better on the website, sometimes they're better on the app, sometimes they don't exist at all. But they rarely give you absolutely everything you need, so you end up doing internet searches. I'd also venture that it's unfair, because if you don't have access to both platforms to use when you're doing your studying, then some people are going to be disadvantaged. So if I'd bought a book to learn Italian, would I be at the same stage as I am now? Definitely not. In under 3 months, I'm capable of constructing reasonably complex sentences, but I still make lots of mistakes, obviously. That's partly because I don't know all the different tenses of verbs, and things come out clunky. Hopefully, by the time I get to the end of the course, that will have changed. Did I say I'm halfway through? I think I did. I would say that Duolingo has been a reasonable choice for me. I guess in the end, it's all about putting the effort in. You can judge for yourself whether it's working by watching some of my other videos where I actually try speaking in Italian. Yes, most of it's scripted at the moment, but maybe that will change over time. Ciao a tutti. Alla prossima!